Hi folks, so question 10, a survey is carried out to investigate the amount and type of exercise that adults are taking in Ireland. So an advantage and a disadvantage of carrying out the survey on a sample instead of a population. So a sample is only a proportion of a whole population. So the whole population of Ireland is something massive, 4 or 5 million. Um, so a sample of that then might be 1,000 of those people or whatever. So a sample is always just a part of an overall bigger group or size of people. So an advantage of surveying a sample instead of the population. So if you were to survey a sample of people in Ireland, it would take a lot quicker, wouldn't it, than to survey all of everybody in the whole country. So it's quicker and probably takes probably cheaper as well. So quicker to um, survey just a sample. The disadvantage is, well, if you think about it, if you were to actually go and survey everyone in the whole country, then your results would be exactly right. So, but if you're only to take a sample, like what we're saying, then the chances are that your your overall answer um, won't be as exact as it could be. So you just need to say something like that. So may not be as accurate. So a random sample of 1,500 people took part in a survey. Show that the margin of error of the survey is 2.6%. So formula for margin of error is 1 over the square root of the population. So 1 over square root of 1,500. And you can just put that into the calculator. And that's 0.0258. And then if you're to change that into a percentage, then you just multiply by 100. So you move the decimal point there. So it's 2.58, and that's 2.6 when you round it off to one decimal place. So 2.56, or sorry, 2.6. So 2.6%. So that is what it says. You've shown it. 71% of the sample said they walk for recreation. Find a number of people from the sample who said that they walk for recreation. So we know that there's 1,500 people in the sample, and we're looking for 71% of that. So you can multiply by 71% on the calculator, use the percentage button, or you could change into a decimal percentage. So multiply it by 0.71, or you could multiply it by 71 over 100. So if you do any of those, you should get 1,065. So 1,065 people. So that's how many walk for recreation. Use the percentages given in the first two parts to write down a 95% confidence interval for the percentage of all adults in Ireland who walk for recreation. So confidence interval is the sample proportion plus or minus the margin of error. So in this case, it's going to be the 71%, so 0.71 as a decimal, plus or minus the, was it 2.6? Yeah, so 0.026. So it's So it's going to be 0.684. That's the lower one. And the higher one is 0.736. So that's the confidence interval. According to the 2019 Irish Sport Monitor report, 65% of adults in Ireland walked for recreation. So 65%. So carry out the hypothesis test at the 5% level of significance to find out if the figure has changed in 2022 based on the results. So clearly state your conclusion and give a reason for your conclusion. So hypothesis test then, so we need a null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis. So the null hypothesis is that it is 65%, and the alternative is that it's not 65%. So we need to look at the confidence interval here. So is 65% in between those two? So we know that 0.684, that's 68.4%, and the other one is 73.6%. So I'm just changing them back to percentages again. So is 65% in between those two? Well, it's not. It's a little bit less than 68.4%. So we have to reject the null hypothesis here. And therefore it has actually changed, so it's gone a little bit higher. So yeah, or it's actually a little bit less, so it's not in between those two percentages. Assume that 20% of adults in Ireland jog for recreation. 3 adults are picked at random. Find the probability that exactly one of these adults jogs for recreation. There's a couple of different ways of doing this again. The way I'm going to show you, so there's 3 different ways that exactly one of the 3 could be. So if the first person jogs and then the second person doesn't jog and then the third person doesn't jog, so D means doesn't, then the second scenario is that the first person doesn't, the second person does jog, and the third person doesn't, and then that the first person doesn't, second person doesn't, and the third person does jog. Those are the only 3 ways that this could work, that it has to be one of those 3. So probability that first person, in the first one, probability first person jogs is going to be 0.2. You're going to multiply that by the second person not jogging, so that's 0.8, and then 0.8 again for the third person not jogging. That's 0.8 is probability that the person doesn't jog. Then second one is 0.8 multiplied by 0.2 multiplied by 0.2. Sorry, it's not. Multiplied by 0.8, we should get 2 0.8s on all of them, and then 0.8 multiplied by 0.8 multiplied by 0.2. So if we're going to calculate each of them, and then we're going to add them all up. So we're going to do each one and add them all up, and then I'm just going to do it all together on the calculator quickly. So we should get 0.384 when you take each of them and add them all together. So part D. So they're asking us for expected value here. So expected value is just going to be, you're just going to take the probability of each one and multiply it by the cost. So the first one is 0.3. That's 30% chance. So 30% chance of going to no classes. So then we're going to multiply it by the cost of going to no classes. So that's just going to be 0 for the first one. I didn't need to put in brackets there. 0.3 multiplied by 0. And then we're going to add on, do the same for the next one. The probability is 0.6, and the cost here would be it'd be 1 times 52. Sorry, it'd be 6 times 52 because each class is €6. So 6 times 52. And then we're going to do the same for the third one, so 0.1 in this case because it's 10%, and times it by it's going to be 12 times 52. So 12 times 52 because we're doubling the cost because it's 2 classes per week. And then you can put all that into the calculator together then. So we're getting 24960. So that's the expected value of the cost. There are 2 price plans for the gym, silver and gold. So €420 for the year, pay 6 for each class, or 670 for the year. All classes are free. Work out the least number of classes that Sinead would have to go to in a year so that the gold plan would cost less than the silver plan. So really here what we're trying to see is how many 6s are in between 420 and 670, because for silver you have to pay the 420, but then it's 6 more. So if she only goes to a few classes in the year, then I mean if she goes to 2 classes in the year, well then altogether that'd be €432, and that'd be a lot less than paying 670. But that's if she went to 2 classes. So it's how many 6s are. So we're going to do 670 take away 420, and that's going to be 250. And then I'm going to divide that by 6 because I'm trying to see how many 6s would go into it. And that's 41.6. So we can't have 0.6 of a class then, so we have to round it up, so it's going to be 42 classes then. So if she goes over the 42 classes, that would go over the 670 then. So 42 classes.